Yes, guys. Hope everyone is doing good today. The weather, by the way, is great. So I know people in Britain are. I know people watching this are buzzing right now because the weather's actually all right and it's not raining miserably like it has been for the last 3 months. Honestly, it's been horrible. But yeah, British people love to talk about the weather, Andrea. So that's why I introduced with the weather. It's what we do. But how are you, mate? How are things going with you? You all right?
Yeah, thanks, mate. I get that you are trying to enjoy every ray of the sun coming back to the British Isle, after a very long time. It's like Leeds returning in the Premier League in
Yeah,
2020.
man.
So something like that,
Yeah, true.
long time no see. But yeah, on the other hand, we basically have inherited the weather from you, probably. Because
Uh,
it's not looking well. I think the sun is not appearing, not 40 days like you, but yeah, over a week. I think it's still cold, still
mm,
foggy at times, a lot of clouds. Yeah, spring has not arrived. We were hoping after last week because we had the sun last week. Okay, I was even without the jacket. I said, okay, spring is really coming now. The good time where you can really don't feel the
no.
cold anymore, and yeah, the cold just return. By the way, if you hear some voices, unfortunately, I'm in my office, and my office is next to the meeting room, so there's a meeting going on next door. That's why you probably hear voices. Sorry for that. But yeah, overall good. To be fair, I managed to rewatch the games because, of course, always there's a lot of conflictuality.
Mm,
When they schedule the Leeds games in the same spot as the regional ones that I have mandatory have to follow. Um, so yeah, I managed to rewatch the game. I think that was the worst game to drop points. But before we delve deep into that, overall, right? Just like people know, the account on Twitter, for the people that didn't know, my account was hacked, on the 25th of February, and it remained like that till the 27th. I managed with X support, Twitter support, to regain access on the browser, but now the account is suspended because I asked to get it suspended, honestly, because he was posting crypto scams and also sending DMs to other Leeds content creators. So I
mm.
think probably there was a conspiracy against Leeds content creators behind that, because many others have received that message. I had received that message too before I was hacked, to be fair. But yeah, with the account suspended, unfortunately, I cannot delete the passkey that the hacker put into the account, and I cannot log other devices out. So I've asked them to intervene, and we'll have to lock out the hacker. And after that, I
Mm.
will appeal my suspension. Because I've appealed that once. Specifying what happened. And the situation. Like, okay, I thank you for your intervention, but I really need to delete that passkey because I still have the doubt that it can gain access to the account even if it's suspended via that passkey. And they still haven't intervened, so I'm sending an email per day,
Mm,
basically. We'll see, mate. What about you? After the sun, at least when you go
mm.
training now, you have a good environment around you in terms of weather.
Yeah, yeah, it's much better. You just feel better when you're not freezing cold or wet every second. But I think I don't think it's lasting very long. I
Mm.
believe I believe it's going to rain tomorrow or maybe even tonight. So 2 good days or three good days, 2 good days at work. So yeah, it's what it is, mate. Got to get on with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're in May, then February, March, May time should be good. May, June, July usually is all right here. So we'll see, man. But it's part of it. It's
Yeah,
part of
and
it.
honestly, when I think about British summer, I always have that picture in my mind of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. When Harry returns with Dudley, after the
Mm.
encounter with the Mentor, and there's that scene where Uncle Vern, and Petunia, they are with the fans, and there's
Yeah,
the TV, like another heat wave hit in the
yeah.
UK. People are not leaving their homes. That's British summer to me. That's the
It is, man.
picture of British summer to me.
It is
That
because
scene.
you know what it is, mate. Because the houses here are built to keep heat in, so when it is warm, it's just horrid. Like that's why I know Americans always, there might be a few watching who look at us and go, they can't handle the heat. But our houses are built to keep the heat in because it's always cold. So when it is above 20 degrees, it feels like 35, 40 degrees. It's horrible and there's no air. It's humid as well. But yeah, no, I don't complain about being too warm. I love it, mate. I'm a summer guy. I love
Good,
it.
good.
I love being out in the sun. Just
I don't
enjoying it.
like I don't like summer, honestly. I prefer the
No,
winter.
my
I prefer
girlfriend's
the
the
winter,
same.
the gothic,
Yeah.
yeah, movie style rain. But summer, honestly, I prefer the mountains to the sea, despite Italy being basically covered on three sides of it, by the sea. I prefer the mountains. Honestly, I used to go actually to in in the summer holidays, but also in the winter when I was a kid to Cortina when they did where they held the Olympics. Very nice. It's always relaxing. It's like you being in a fairy tale. One of these legends where you have the myths. From like the gods of the mountains, Asgard. That those
Nice.
mice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love places like that, mate, to be fair. But
Lake
yeah,
Garda,
right.
Lake Garda too.
Oh, been there, Andre.
Ah, yeah, you
Uncultured.
told me, I think. Yeah.
Went there with school. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Went to Lake Garda, Verona. Took a
Oh,
trip into
nice.
Venice. Yeah, we played. It's like this 3G pitch, and genuinely to the left was the lake, and it was just the
On Garda.
craziest.
On
Yeah, yeah,
Garda. Ah, all
yeah,
right.
quite close. I was young. I can't remember specifically,
Salò,
but
probably. Might be Salò.
I'm not sure.
Because I
Potentially,
think the
I don't know.
stadium is near the lake. They used to have a team
Maybe.
there, but after Brescia folded with Cellino last season,
Mm.
Fralpi Salò, which located like a team from the province of Brescia. They basically moved to Brescia and got renamed the Union Brescia, like a Phoenix club of Brescia. But they used to play in Salò. I think that's the stadium where you played because it's near the lake.
It weren't. It had a little bit of a stand. It weren't big though, but it weren't. Obviously, we were. What I'd have been 13, 14 at the time, so we were playing youth football. But it was just crazy. Just stepping out. Sorry, my voice is going. Just stepping out and just seeing this lake. I was like, wow, I'm playing football here. It was great, man. But excuse me. But yeah, right. We can talk about beautiful places for a long time, but we've got to talk about the result, the performance, everything going on at Leeds right now. Yeah, Andre, I guess I'll start with you. How are you feeling and about the game, the Sunderland game? Obviously, we've not spoke about the City game. I guess we can move on from that. I don't think that's old news now.
Yeah.
I am going to talk in a bit, and I know people might annoy people, but I just want to get this out of the way and say this. We'll talk about the performance. We'll criticise that first. I do want to speak about the overall entertainment in football. What's going on with referees, the laws of the game, the rules of the game, because I've had a big problem about this for years. And having watched a lot of it around the world for work and just for fun sometimes, I promise, and you could probably say in Italy, Andre, for me, England is the worst by far. So I want to talk about that in a bit, but we'll talk about the game first.
Yeah, we were talking, I guess, about the weather and your trips, to stall and postpone, the talk about the game, because honestly, it's so frustrating. So frustrating because that was the game we didn't need to drop points. We didn't have to drop points because it was massive, especially because Sunderland, they had started very well in the season, and especially with AFCON. And towards the end, the second half of the season, they dropped some points compared to the position they were in the first half of the season. So we could have matched, made up ground, up to them. But it was fundamental because we were at home. They changed a lot. Of course, they're not the same team as last season when we played against them in the championship. They've changed a lot. They invested a lot. They decided to go the Nottingham Forest way, in a certain sense. Invest a lot of money in the first season, then we'll try to build on that team. We went for the opposite. Like, let's pick some specific players and trust the core of the team of last season, the team that got us promoted. But honestly, it's so frustrating because in the end, they had chances, we had chances. Look like one of those games under Bielsa where you didn't take your chances. You get in the right positions despite struggling, because in the end you struggled. We struggled at times during the game. But eventually, if you go and watch towards the end of the game, especially after the penalty, we were constantly trying to create something. We got the ball in the box. Nobody was there to meet with the ball. I remember one specific action when the ball was from the right hand side into the box. Pirot doesn't touch the ball. If he touches the ball there, I think it's 1-1 probably. But it's so frustrating because we complicated it for ourselves now, like when people chant Leeds are falling apart or Leeds do a Leeds, it's one of those games like when we did a Leeds, because eventually we could have scored. We didn't take our chances. We were not our best. That's not something that we don't need to touch, because it needs to be said we are not at our best. To be fair, we are looking a lot, especially even in the Man City game, which was a good performance where we matched them. We had opportunities to equalize. There was a clear penalty for us in the second half against City. But I think we are getting a bit predictable at times.
Yeah.
Even at Villa, I would have liked James Nyonto. When we were too deep into our own half, we talk about this, That's also the same category. We needed an outlet, someone that could did the counter, could run off the ball, like sprint, try to challenge this right centre back, helping us to stay higher up the pitch. But we keep going with the injury Okafor, with this Aronson DCL, and it's not working like he used to. There were in the past, in the first half of the season, and Newcastle was the game where it worked best, despite us losing. I think the thing is that now dropping points in this game complicates everything for us with the win of West Ham at Fulham. Tonight there's Tottenham against Palace. Forest drew at Man City. It's still open. I think it was a misstep because the Man City performance was very good for me. The only thing missing was the goal. Second game in a row where we didn't score. I think we were relying during that positive run a lot on DCL. Right now we are still playing a good level of football, but we are not clinical as we used to be. So there are worrying signs. I still think it's just a misstep, But the frustration mainly is for the fact that I could have accepted like a loss at Villa, a loss with Man City, but I think the key game out of the last three was the one against Sunderland at Elland Road. I think it was mandatory 3 points for me, and we ended up with 0. So I'm really frustrated, to be fair, because the players tried. There were opportunities, we didn't take them. Now we have to bounce back, and I really hope we do, because there are some signs in performances where we see that some players are tired, some players are overworked. The people tend to blame Fag, like he's not rotating, but every time he's given a chance off the bench to a player, they are not impacting the game, and that's another worrying sign for me so far, even in good results.
Yeah. I think predictable is the thing. That became an issue before we changed what we were doing, right? So we started the season. Yeah. People forget this. We started the season really well. It was never bad, change, great. That's not how it worked. We started really well. And then we went through a bad period where we lost 3 in a row. Performances were looking bad. We looked predictable. What we were doing wasn't working. Premier League teams cotton onto it, and then you're struggling because we don't have the top star individual quality players that in games where you're struggling are going to win the game for you, which people like teams like Man City do. Most teams in this league actually do. We are not there yet. We've got a solid squad, hard-working team, and we can't be predictable with that. We can't afford to be. And we have always said this, and I want to clarify it because I think it's important to, see the difference in the detail of changing formation, but within that, changing the way you play, adapting the way you play. People are now asking for attacking changes, and I'm asking, well, are they not wingers? They didn't want to play with wingers, right? That was not the answer, apparently. So what is it? We don't And look, you could speak about Tanaka. I don't actually think he's such an offensive player, to be honest. I think he might connect the lines better, but he's not. I don't look at Tanaka and think, yeah, link up. I don't look at Tanaka and go, attacking option, change the game. I don't think so. I think he'd have come on and done a little. It's just to kind of kept the ball a bit. I don't think we have that profile. We said this. I think we lack profiles. We lack offensive profiles that can change a game. And we've said this all season. This is not just a thing we said, now. I don't think we have that. So there's a difference between changing formation. You can still change formation and become predictable. And we're kind of seeing that in the last few weeks. We're going long a lot. And again, that was the answer. And we've said that's not the answer. The answer is to change what you're doing. Don't always do the same thing, whether that's playing out for 90 minutes or going long for 90 minutes. Don't be predictable. We've become predictable. And I've got some clips in a minute that I'll show. Sunderland dealt with the way we played quite easily because we became predictable. Most of our moves ended up at the goalkeeper, and from that, the goalkeeper going long, or to one of the full backs, and then one of the full backs, mainly Justin or Bogle, going long. And then we got into DCL, who isn't a hold-up striker. I've said this. He isn't. He's not a target man. He can do a little bit of that. He's physical, yes. He's a good mover. He can flick it on really well. He's got a good jump. But he's not a hold-up number 9. That's not what he is. So when we're constantly going to DCL to try and hold it up, 6 times out of 10 it won't work. Maybe 7 times out of 10 it won't work.
Yeah, he's a poacher.
The defenders will eat him up. Yeah, he's a box. Poacher. He's a guy in the box. That's where he works.
Only hold up is Nacha for me. Only hold up is Nacha.
Yeah, he's more physical with defenders. DCL can flick it on really well. That's not a hold-up player. That's just part of his game. He can flick it on. And he tried to do that, but we had no one around him. We have to remember as well, the way we're playing, because we've seen a lot of stuff about Stack and his role in the team. We're not playing with wingers. So if we're playing with width, someone has to come out of midfield to create overloads in wide areas. That is Stack. He's better at doing that than Gruev. He's better at doing that than Ampadu. That's the option we have. So if we have DCL in the middle and we need some spaces out wide to help Bogle or help Goodmanson, Aronson will usually go to the left. Stack will go to the right. That's kind of the way it is. We have to do that. We don't have wingers. Someone needs to make that roll up or we won't do anything down the flanks. So for me, mate, it's a little bit predictable now. I think the players took a lot of easy options in going long. I don't think we took many risks. You can say that's instruction. You can say that's down to players. I think, again, in a team, that's down to both. That's down to both groups to figure out what the situation is. It's not an individual. It's not the manager. It's not the team. It's everything. It's all of us. Everyone involved.
Why did we go squad?
Yeah, exactly. It's a team sport.
Forces us. Forces other times, It forces us.
But apart from that, and I've said this before, this is who we are as a team. I'm not expecting miracles. I'm not expecting us to come out and play like prime Barcelona under Pep Guardiola. This is not what we are, and I don't want us to be that. I like the way we are. I've said that, and I do. I like it. I like these players. And nothing's going to change, We just need to switch up a little bit. And as it's getting a little harder, now obviously players are getting more tired. There's more games. Seems like there's a game every other day now. The lack of depth is showing. Players are getting tired around the 60 minutes. Even in the first half, you're seeing it. Players just getting tired. They're not tracking back quick enough. Now, people can talk about rotation, and I agree. Yeah, I would have liked to see Tanaka more, 100%. Yeah. I actually would have liked to see, maybe even Nonto more, even though he's not changing the game for me when he comes on. There's players even long.
Underline that. We can underline that for me.
Yeah,
because there's a difference. There's a difference on Tanaka, the fact that he has proven himself. So it's a thing that I know that he can play a part in that. While for Nonto and Dan James is more tactical, I think, mate, in a certain sense, yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a minute, yeah. We've got some graphics and stuff. But even Longstaff, why are these players who, Longstaff, by the way, who started before he got injured, why is he not now pushing for minutes? You've seen a drop in Ampadu's performance in the last few weeks. I don't blame him. He's been really good all season. That's going to happen. That's natural. But he's the captain. that's his responsibility. He's the one that sets the standard for the squad. If he doesn't perform, we don't really perform. So he's got to find a way out of that. And credit to Ampadu, he's usually quite good at not letting bad form last too long. Usually 1 or 2 games he has. After that is usually all right. So we need our captain now. He's had a few games off in a certain sense. I don't think he's been poor, but his high standards has dropped a little bit. Now, because of that, and even in Gruev's case, he's kind of dropped a little bit. There doesn't seem to be any immediate competition pushing them, which isn't higher in standards. And people can say, well, Farke doesn't trust them. He trusts Longstaff. He did. He played him a lot before he got injured. And he's been back for a while now. These players have to do more than the guys at training to get in there. I said this. You can't just have a good training session. You've got to do more to get a point. People talking about Buonanotte. I mean, look, it works 1 or 2 ways. Look, people said this all summer that Farke has the final say on every transfer. Okay. The same people are saying that Farke doesn't trust attacking players. So why did he sign off on Buonanotte then? He wouldn't have signed off on a player if he didn't want him in the squad. The fact of the matter is, and this is going to annoy people, and I don't really care, football's a performance game. He's obviously come in and he's not ready to perform at the level we need him to be. It's nothing against the lads.
He was given a chance.
Yeah.
At Birmingham. He was poor. It was the worst one on the pitch, unfortunately, because I think he's a good player, but he wasn't. He wasn't Buonanotte. He wasn't the Buonanotte we know that day.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not getting the player we all want. He's not the player he thinks he is. We've seen it happen. And we've got to remember this. He's come into this team. It's down to him to get into the squad. If Farke's signing off on the players, then that doesn't work with the argument that he doesn't like offensive attacking players, which I've seen. Why would he sign off on Buonanotte then? Buonanotte is not training or performing at the level that he needs to be to get in the team. It's as simple as that. It's a highly competitive squad. He's got to do more. So that's my thing for that. I don't think we have the options people think we do off the bench. I do agree. I'd like to see more rotation in midfield at times. But what are they doing? What are they performing like at training? These guys have to push in there. Longstaff played at the start of the season and he found a decent bit of form. He's not getting in the squad anymore. He's not even getting minutes, really. Same for Tanaka. What's going on there? Biol is more of an argument, of course. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think we're losing games because Biol's not in there. Yes, it would help at set pieces, 100%. But I think the deliveries have been poor as well.
Yeah.
There's many things we can complain about, but the thing is, we just need to refine what we have been for a long time and get through this period. We've seen it. We've done it before. I believe in them to do it. I do. I think it's going to be tougher than before because it's just getting harder and harder now. Every game, you're more tired. The pressure's on even more. West Ham are winning. Forest are doing all right. But this is it now. This is what, 9 games left? There's no excuses now. We've got to get on with it. Get off the line. Still in our hands. We've still got the points gap. Decent goal difference. Some favourable results. Go do it now.
Because we'll have to go and play there in London too.
Yeah.
Against West Ham. So it's mandatory. Absolutely. I agree with what you said on everything. And also on what you said about Biol and Longstaff. I get the people asking why are they not playing, But I've made my mind up on that. I think it's connected to the need of players with pace. Because Farke has decided to play Justin and Stack. But you pointed out it needs to overload on one side because if you don't have a winger or attacking player, that one might be Aronson, but of course he needs to stay closer to DCL right now or go in wide areas near DCL, beside DCL. So the one that needs to link up the other 2 midfielders and the wing back, and especially the right wing back in this case, and the 2 attacking players ahead of him is Stack. Stack has the physique, the body, and a little bit of pace. But compared to him, Longstaff doesn't have that pace. The pace to be effective in that role. And even Biol, I think he's playing Justin right now, despite him not being a natural centre-back. And Biol is a natural centre-back on the other hand. Because right now we seem to be, especially in possession, we have one of the midfielders dropping back. We have like Rodon going right, Strauk left. Usually also you can see Rodon, Strauk, and Gruev, in certain situations in the game. So you have Justin going forward and also Bogle. Bogle is effectively now a winger when we attack. That's the thing. We are constantly relying on certain players to become off the ball or in the build-up players that they haven't been before coming to Leeds.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They are performing well. Yes, they have performed well this season. It has worked, but it's overperforming because you are driving out of position. Even Stark, we said that at the start of the season. I'm glad it's a joke, of course. I'm glad that Julian Nagelsmann agrees with us on the fact that Stark preferred position is the number 6 in a midfield trio. Like he specifically mentioned, I think the best position is the central role where he can drop in the 6. And the thing is, Ampadu, I agree with you on that. Like, I cannot blame him, I cannot blame him. He's been our best player probably this season, not attacking players, overall. He's been the leader we needed. He's been the captain we needed, the one stepping up, stepping for his teammates, the one carrying the mentality of the team on his shoulders, The problem is we don't have a replacement for him because his replacements, natural ones, Stack is playing beside him in a link up 8 role, and Gruev, the other replacement, is playing beside him, So that's why we don't have replacements, and that's the thing mainly. It's the fact that the second striker, these players have performed. Yes, Stack has performed, but like Nagelsmann said, he was playing in a different role at Hoffenheim. He can overperform, he can perform in a different position, but you cannot expect him to have the same level of energy that other number 8s, natural number 8s, have in other teams. You can expect Justin to be always good at centre back. You cannot expect Gruev to be always effective as a number 8 because they are not naturals. Even Aronson as a second striker is a free playmaker for me. That's how I call him. But we have, and that's a credit to Fake, we have made results and a positive run with players playing in new positions. So I think a drop in performances is to be expected. The example is Brendan Aronson. Look at the Aronson of November and December. It was so effective for us. So effective for us. Right now, the level of performance is still playing well in certain games, but it's not effective as it used to be. The same can be said, for example, Stack. Towards the end of the year last season, he wasn't that effective. Now he's been more effective in recent games. There's always that ups and downs in terms of performances, but that's something that you need to take into account when you decide to rely not on creating depth in the squad, but relying on certain players to be adaptable in new positions. And that's the decision we made as a club eventually. We haven't decided not to cover gaps, but rely on these players. And I've always said, mate, leagues get decided, or at least you can see the end, the horizon, in March. Because you see that the values, the levels widen in terms of the real value of a team, but also the intensity. We know that firsthand under Bielsa, when a team has been overworked, usually in March, there's a drop in performances with fitness because you have spent so much in the previous months that you have a little drop in performances. You need to reshape, to recondition in a certain sense. So I'm worried about that, to be fair. That's what I'm worried about. I know we have Domagala. He's like, he has the reputation of a surgeon, so we are in good hands. But I think we'll see some players, especially one played in a new position this season, or even naturals like Gudmundsson. Because, mate, we tend to forget also that certain players had injuries, like Gudmundsson missed games, Bogle missed games. Other players have missed games. DCL has missed games. Mecha, James has returned. So these players are not fully 100%. Some of them they have missed games. Some of them they're not still 100%. So I'm worried about the fitness, to be fair, honestly, because we have overworked a lot of players, even after their immediate returns. I remember Rodon, after he missed a game, he returned at Newcastle and played 90 minutes, and he got a knock, I think, at the end of that game. So yeah, that's my main worry now, to be fair.
Yeah, and I just wanted to touch on the winger stuff, or the more attacking players. I'm genuinely trying to figure out what people mean by that. I'm assuming they mean. I'm guessing they must mean either. I don't know. I'm genuinely trying to think. If they're assuming Buonanotte, forget about that. That's on him. I'm sorry, it is. If he's not even making the matchday squad, that's on him. We're talking about a guy who's not played this season. That's on him. He needs to figure that out and help us, because we do need his help, and he'd be a very good player for us if he can get to that level. Barker would just not put him in the squad because, for what reason? Of course he wants him. He signed off on him, right? So he needs to sort that out. So take him in away. Okafor's injured, obviously. Nothing we can do about that. So the other options to me, it must be Tanaka, I'm not talking about, which is the one you could probably argue the most, in fairness. Non-own James to me. Now, the problem with them two, now I know they came on and we kind of got on the ball more and we maintained possession more, but that's what a winger is. We've forgotten because we've not played with them. That's what wingers do. Of course, they're more dangerous. They're 1v1 threats. That's what a winger is, right? But I still don't think we got the end product that we needed from them. I don't think we got the impact that we did. I genuinely don't. I don't think we were terrible, but I think they kind of just matched the game state. I don't think they did anything above and beyond. Nonto for me, he does well when I actually like Nonto in terms of his combination play is decent. He is a smart player. He likes to look for passes out wide into spaces and stuff like that. But he doesn't beat guys on the outside. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. He's quick. He can use his body well. Why does he not go on the outside to beat players, especially when he's on that left? It's so one-dimensional and easy to defend. You just pack the box. That's so frustrating for me. And again, I say this a lot. Wingers is my position. I played it all my life. It's the position I've done most research on in terms of tactical stuff. I love it, and I want to figure out, every single winger and what goes on in their brain and what they're thinking. Because in modern football, wingers are kind of, they're just going to become a tactical tool. But wingers are not that. They are the freedom in the team. They're the joy of the team. They're the fun of it. They're the rogue players. And even Dan James, to an extent, he came on and he did some Dan James things, but a lot of it was really without outcome. When you bring on a winger, you need output and outcome. Otherwise, it's pointless. And we didn't get that. For me, they didn't put good balls into the box. For me, they didn't take great strikes at the goal. They didn't get in positions to do that. Not had a strike. It was wide. We need more from them. And I think this is a problem. And we did say this before, I'm looking at a player like Pajau, who isn't flopping in France. That's a myth. I don't know where that's come from, by the way. He was injured for the Spurs
the weekend.
Weeks. Yeah. I don't know where that myth's come from. He's been injured. He came back. He took a few weeks to get into it, and he's been flying since. But I look at a winger like Pajau, and in that situation there, he comes on that left. I'm convinced he gets us something. When we brought our wingers on, I'm cheering for him. I'm saying, come on, please. But we're not getting what we need. So I'm not sure they're the answers that people are looking for. I'm just not. It's a tough one. I just don't think we have the profiles in offensive areas to change games. I think we have players that can affect games. That's different, right? And Mecha can come on and he's something different. He can affect a game. But we don't have people that can just do that individual stuff and change games for me. I don't think we do. And that's a worry and that's a problem. I just want to ask you one thing, Andrea, on Tanaka.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people say I'm biased, so I want to ask you, because obviously I knew about Tanaka before we signed him and I was big on him then.
Do they?
Yeah. I always wanted him. But I'm in a position now where, and anyone that's watched me for a while knows I absolutely love Tanaka. So you can't say I'm anti-Tanaka. That just makes no sense. I think he's a great player. I love him to bits. But why is he not playing? What do you think? Why is he not playing? Why is he not getting more minutes?
Well, I'm looking now at my my second monitor, because I have all the games that he played this season. Now, eventually, he started 7 games and was subbed in 13 games, And in the final ones, he was 1 through last 6, and he was subbed. Sorry, not subbed. And you subbed, So we all know that the best games that he had were Chelsea, Liverpool. But looking at Chelsea, played 67 minutes, probably his best game of all season. Even scored that goal from outside the box. Next one against Liverpool, he came on, There were 2 games very close. One of was on the 3rd of December, and the next one was on the 6th. Then played 73 minutes at Brentford, and I think that was the game that changed everything for him, because it was the big opportunity to retain his place in the team, and it wasn't great eventually. I think now I'm gonna check, because I think after we made the substitution back then, because when we made the sub and introduced at the 73rd minute, we subbed out him, Tanaka, and Biol, and subbed in Nyonto and Aronson, and that was the game when Nyonto assisted the ball to DCL, and we equalized, in that game. But after that, 13 minutes against Crystal Palace, 59 against Sunderland, 1 minute against Liverpool, 10 against Man United, 1 against Newcastle, 9 against Fulham, and the last game he played, and it wasn't great. That was a game I really think, okay, let's bring Tanaka in. He can have an impact there.
Yeah.
Against Everton, 24 minutes, and he was poor, and he hasn't appeared ever since. So his last game was more than a month ago, 26th. Of course, he played against Birmingham too in the cup, but it's a hard one, because we all know what he's capable of. But like you said, he's a link-up player. He has less physicality compared to Ampadu, Stack, and Gruev. So right now, Farke wants physical players that can bring in and put a tackle, in key positions to recover the ball or to dispose of the ball. Tanaka is more like, I'm a free role playmaker, I'm roaming all around. I get towards the ball. What Stack does, in a certain sense in the build-up, but Tanaka, I remember there was a game where we introduced him. Can't remember which one it was, but I think he was introduced at the half, and then it was very good because the other team was not pressing us high, and he had the freedom to move, and that's where he thrives. When it's a toe-to-toe, pound-for-pound match, a dogfight basically in the middle, it's not his best territory. It's not the territory he thrives. So that's why we're playing Gruev right now, because Gruev at least is a defensive fighter. Tanaka is more like a link-up player. He's not a defensive player. He's a link-up. He has more pace compared to the others. He can progress with the ball. But right now, there's a reason he's not playing. I've realized that too. I love Tanaka, honestly, but I've realized why. The intensity in the middle, like, look at Ampadu. How many hits, we use an NFL term, how many hits does he take during a game? How many ground tackles does Gruev and Stack get into? It's a dogfight right now in the middle. It's like fighting in the mud in these games with intensity and physicality. And Tanaka is an intense player when he plays 1, 2, or stop the ball, move, try to elude the pressure, But in terms of physicality, he's not a physical player. He's not a fighter in that sense compared to the others. So I think that's why Farke is preferring to play these players. And right now, even Sean Longstaff is ahead of him for that specific reason, because at least he's tall and physical. He's not a box-to-box type of player, similar to Tanaka, a different box-to-box when he takes part in the attack. But I think that's the reason, physicality, and also the fact that the way the games are shaped right now, he wouldn't be able to have an impact. But despite that, when you are constantly pushing towards the end of the game, like against Sunderland, to create, and they are pushed back basically into the non-half, a midfielder like Tanaka would have been the ideal one to contribute and get the ball outside of the box and distribute either to the other side or take a shot at the goal. So I think he still has a part to play, but right now, the answer I gave to myself when thinking about Tanaka has been the physicality and the way the team is shaped right now. He wants more physical players, more defensive-minded players. But the issue goes back to the wingers too, because if you're playing with 2 defensive midfielders, like Ampadu and Gruev or Ampadu and Stack, and you play with Aronson, for example, and Okafor, that's the way we used to play. We were more balanced for getting forward, Now you don't have Okafor and nobody's there to take his place. So there's also a problem if Okafor has been our best winger this season, because the two behind DCL. Because in the end, Okafor scored goals, yes, towards the last couple of games before he got injured, he was all right. He was trying to get more involved. He was trying to press more, off the ball. He was good. But before these games, he was always wide, isolated, struggling to get sharp, to get the best out in a 1v1, always not trying to dribble, going inside, not shooting or passing again the ball to another midfielder, he wasn't changing the game. So that's a problem, to be fair, the one of the wingers. Now Okafor is injured, and that's why we reverted to a 3-5-2. But Falke wants the wing backs. Look at Bogle, how high he is, right now. Bogle and Gudmundsson want to get forward. Aronson and DCL, he wants Stack to be in the middle and Gruev and Ampo the back. So where do you play Tanaka there? That's the reason he wants more physical play if we lose the ball in an area where we are exposed, and that's why he's playing Gruev for me, ahead of Tanaka.
Yeah. Mark,
what about you?
Yeah. Oh, see, I'm biased, but I'm trying not to be. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I think the reasoning is sound. Yeah, I think it makes sense. But would I do that? Probably not. That's just me. Would I be successful? Probably not.
Something like this still there, mate.
Yeah, no,
probably not.
It's just about preference. I absolutely love a link-up player that can move the ball quickly. I understand physical. I completely understand it. But it's my own vision of how I like to watch football. And I think in midfield, you need a general that's just going to pass and move consistently. Sacrifice a little bit of physicality, fine, is what it is. But again, I think there's more, like you said, I think there's more scope for it. I think that's the problem for me. It's the fact he's not even getting a minute. When we know he's different to what we've got. So by that definition, he will change the game. I'm not saying he's a game changer that's going to completely transform the way we play. But like you said, when we're chasing a game and we need someone to come on in that role in the middle, move the ball from left to right quickly, little 1-2s, he's really good at that. And I think he's there and probably should be used a little more. But there's reasons he's not, and I don't know what they are. And maybe in the presser they can ask, why is Snack not playing? I think that'd be a great reason, especially when we've seen a drop from midfield.
They still haven't?
A good question. I don't think so. Not in a while.
They should ask.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Not in a while anyway. Because, I'm looking at these games going, you can impact here. The midfield's dropped off a little bit. Why is Snacker not even coming off the bench? What is it about his game that makes you think he cannot impact this game at all? That's what I want to kind of know. But yeah, we'll leave Snacker there. I've just got some clips, and I know you've got some stats, Andre, about the game. This is very specific to what we've been talking about. We want to keep this pod today, I think, because obviously we missed last week, so we want to come back and just talk about the game and discuss what's going on at Leeds. So there's no nuanced topics this week about like styles of coaching. Or
no, I think we did last week, mate. Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah. My voice was,
the week before. Week before. Yeah.
Sorry, my voice,
no worries.
Yeah. Last week was
before Man City.
Yeah, of course.
Before Man City, yeah. When we talk about Sam Allardyce, Javi Gracia, and Jesse Marsh.
Oh yes, I remember now. I'm back and I can speak, is what I'm trying to say, to be fair. So I've just got one or two quick scenes from the game. And I just want to, the theme of this, and this took me 20 minutes, because I remember this from the game. I've not spent hours on this, otherwise it would be better. I promise. This is not hours of work. This is literally 20 minutes before the pod. I was rushing. And I remember this scene specifically from the game, because I just got back from work, and this is the time I got in. And this is one of the first things I saw. And straight away I went, oh no. So we win the ball back, and it's about bravery, making good decisions, making brave decisions on the ball. That's what we had to do against this press for Sunderland. So I'll show you what it is here. We get the ball back. Rodon passes it into Ampadu in this situation here. As you can see, Rodon gets the ball. They clear it. Ballard gives it. Rodon secures the ball. Gives it to Ampadu now. You can see Sunderland at this point are not set. They're not set properly. Look how close these two are. They're not really set. So Ampadu does a good thing here, actually, to be fair to him. It's not just an Ampadu praise, by the way. Just want to point it out. He did do good things in the game. Because everyone thinks he's the worst player in the world at the moment, which he's not. He's just underperforming. But he turns, good. This is what we need, right? This is positive play. Gets the ball, realises he's got space. As you can see, they're not set. They're not really in a position to defend it. Ampadu could probably drive with it as well. That's another option he could have done. But he finds Gudmundsson out wide. Again, taking the risk between the players. Good. Beat their press of their 3. Again, it's not a set press, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Plays the ball through.
Yeah.
Decent. So now Goodmanson's got the ball. Good. These 3 out the picture. Now, this is the problem for me, the second phase of it. The second phase is the issue. We found Goodmanson in this area. Now, look where Stack and DCL are. For me, and so Goodmanson takes 3 touches. 1 with his left, then 2 with his right, which is the problem. He puts it back on his right foot, which obviously is going to force him backwards. He's not positive enough. For me, there's not a clear option. This is where the second Ampadu does this. That's where Stack, who's already high, by the way, you can see it's not even on the picture, has to recognise that this guy's going to get dragged out. Stack has to attack the space in behind. Here, as you can see, it's right there. Space in behind the full-back. Goodmanson can play a ball round to Stack, who's attacking the back line, or even DCL. One of them has to do it.
Yeah,
pointless to both been here. But what this has also done, it's left a little space in the middle for Aronson to exploit. Now, how many times have we seen Aronson in this area? This is his space, right? Yeah. This is where he works. Stack being high, kind of takes the 32 away, gives Aronson a little bit of space, and Goodmanson has a chance to play that pass. Now, I want to clarify one thing about analysis. It's easy to screenshot and say this could happen. I've watched this, and I think he could have done it. That's why I chose this situation. But what Goodmanson does wrong, his second touch is backwards. Now, you can see he's got a cross. You can see we've not made the run. Stack's still in that role. He's not made that run.
He's
dying for it. Yep. So now it's given Goodmanson, his touch goes backwards. They've now pressed. It's cut all the angles off. There's no space at all. It was a quick 1 or 2 seconds. 1 second here, take a touch, play it in there or play it in there. He hesitates. There's no real option. So he goes backwards. Okay, whatever. Even Gruev is an option here.
Yeah.
You can play it into Gruev. Gruev can turn. Maybe then it's a ball in behind and we can play out to Justin. But the point being, it was such a safe thing to do. A little shout, little pass to Gruev there. That's all it needs. And we can turn and we're out. Don't do that. We go back to Strauch. We reset. Fine, whatever. You can't always get it right. That's fine. Not a problem. Next phase. What do we do next? Plays it into Ampadu again. In a little space. Ampadu does well. He turns with a ball. Plays it out to Justin in this area out wide. Fine. But what you can see by Sunderland now, they're more set. They've got their 3 here. They're man for man here on Aronson. The fullback's going to go on Goodmanson. They were very man for man. The press was very man for man. And in order to beat man for man press, you have to exploit space and play it into space. And this is what I'm going to show next. So we get the ball in there. Good. We play it out to Justin.
Justin, yeah.
Now, Justin plays it out to Bogle. Good. Now, what you can see we've already done, we're stretching their press a little bit. All right. It's not quite compact. There's little gaps into midfield here, maybe that you can exploit, little spaces in midfield that you can exploit. You can see already the front four for them is very disconnected from the rest. Very. Now, just before the pass goes at Bogle, you can see Aronson, look, he's in that space. Bogle gets it. Focus on the red for now. Aronson leaves the space, which takes, I don't know who that is. I can't actually tell. I don't know who's with him. But it takes his marker with him. Attacks the back line. Stack, as you can see.
That's Aronson.
That's Aronson there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant the player. I don't know who the player is with Aronson.
Oh, next to him, Gertrude, I think.
Is that Gertrude? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tracks him. Stack's holding the defender high. That's why he's in wide areas, by the way, people. To create this big gap in the middle here. How many times this season have we seen Bogle get the ball in this area and play it into the middle for Ampadu to run onto? It's right there. He's literally looking at it. The problem for me is Ampadu isn't akin to that. He's not active enough. He doesn't ask for it. He doesn't make that little run. But you can see the spaces. We go out wide, which stretches their press out. Good run from Aronson to take the guy in the middle away. Now, is this Trey Hume or is it Rigg? One of them.
No, it's Hume. Yeah.
Hume. So Trey Hume actually goes with Aronson as well. Because obviously he's leaving the marker. So he actually goes with Aronson.
Alderete, Hume, Gertrude, Ballard, and Onayen.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's Hume. So
Aronson's run goes from the middle, takes 2 away. which leaves this big space. Stack obviously out there as well, occupying the centre-back. This is the problem. We hesitate. We don't do that obvious option. It's still there. Look, I take the graphics away. It's right there. It's on Bogle's right foot. It's an easy pass into the space. When Ampadu's got it here, we can go out wide the other side and create an overload on the left, or even get across into the box. We don't do it. We go back. Now look at the gaps between their front five and back. Look at the space between them. Look at the gap between. That is massive. That has to be exploited. And that's because they're going man for man, right?
Yeah.
So what we've done, because we've got high runners in Stack, who's a stop pitcher, and Aronson, they've gone man for man. They've tracked their men, and we've got a spare gap in the middle, which Ampadu needs to exploit. And we don't do that. Bogle goes back. Not only do we go back, but we actually go back into a press, which you never do. So we give it back to Justin, who's been pressed by Lefebvre, and then we give it back to Rodon, who's also been pressed. Now, the problem is, you can see now, man for man, man for man, man for man, man for man. No option now. They're back to their man-to-man press. They're back in shape. The only option, really, the only out, is Strauch. But they know Rodon's right-footed, and their guy is pressing Rodon's left side, so he can't get it out.
Angulo is blocking the pass line. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Which means we go back to the goalkeeper. Okay? Again.
Attracted.
Yeah, now you can see, I'll show this next step. Man for man. What do? We go long. That's the solution. And that's where we saw, we go long, isolated, lose the ball, they win it back. You can see, look, man for man again, man for man, man for man. This is where the spaces are. These are where the gaps you need to exploit when it's man for man. Because they're going to be tight. You've got to exploit the gaps. Yeah, look, DCL, yeah. I mean, there's just nothing here. Aronson's running, bless him, but you're nowhere near it. Go on, mate. You want to add?
No, I was looking at Stack, because right now he's in the right position. I think the thing that I didn't like about the previous slides was his movement, honestly, too early. If you go back, I think he's attacking too early, when, of course, you had an extra man to the attacking line, but even the previous one, look at this one, there's Ampadu, but if Stack is more centered near to Ampadu with Bogle, he can pass the ball to Stack and then attack the space behind Sadiki. So I think Stack is attacking too early the line, tend to stretch the line and get Alderete, try to drag Alderete not wide, but try to drag him out of the line then. So because the center back won't follow you in the middle, so you'll have freedom of movement there. That's what happened with Gruev against Nottingham Forest, for example. He wasn't followed a lot, so there were a lot of times where he was unmarked. We don't know why he was unmarked, a mystery. But the reason, actually, I was joking, is the center back is not following a midfielder back to where the yellow line is, because he will leave the space. He will leave him, he will leave the line, and then he will leave the man, in this case, to another man, to a teammate. So Stack, I think, even in the previous one where the ball was to Gudmundsson, Stack needed to be closer. And in that case, not just Stack, because Stack needed to be more like on the right. Like looking at where Aronson is, I think Stack can get forward here, but I think he needs to be on the same line as Aronson, behind Hume in that case. Because if you get the ball to Aronson, then Aronson can attack the 1v1, Gudmundsson can overlap. But if Aronson turns inside, there's Stack outside the box, he can shoot. Or he can play the ball to DCL.
Yeah, or even in this situation, if Stack's a little deeper or it's a little down here or wherever, that leaves DCL 1v1, ball into him, hold it up. You've got Aronson running on, you're going forward. But yeah, you're right. He's not affecting the game in any sense. Yeah, that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
And the decision making from the player on the ball was safe. All right, I'm not going to take that risk. I'll go back. Why? Why is that our mentality? Why is this? We're usually quite good, and this is where I give us credit. This is why I point this out. In this area, Bogle usually always goes forward. I mean, he sometimes even attacks that space himself. They seem to be a real hesitant to do any of that. But the movement we've done shows that we've created that space for a reason. So it's not like we're not trying to do that, because we've literally done it. Aronson's made that run. He's dragged these two out. He's created that space.
Yeah.
Why have we not executed it? Why? You know what I mean? I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. But if you look at these slides, you will guess that Bogle is playing as a fullback. And in this case, he's a wingback. So there's also the problem, because you see that he's not he's in a conservative position, conservative body language. Like you said, he doesn't take the risk and he goes back. If you're a wingback, I'm looking at that midfielder to pass the ball to and then sprint or attack. Like Goodmanson always does. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see that in the next slide. So yeah, so he goes back. Like I said, guys, this took 15 minutes, all I had. This is a new phase. So this is the new one. So again, Strout's got it at the back. Fine, gives the ball to Rodon. You can see as well, their press is going to become man-to-man. He's going to tuck up here. He's going to go out there. He's there. Now, this is what I actually quite like, is Justin's role in this. So we've gone with a back two. We kind of got three across the middle, with Bogle and Goodmanson on either side as well. So we've kind of got five in the middle. Again, trying to stretch their press. And you can see it's pretty stretched. There is spaces, there is gaps here. We do it well. So Bogle gets the ball. And again, like you mentioned earlier, Andre, let me just get rid of the bar so we can actually see the ball. I don't think it gets rid. But what you can see here, so Bogle gets the ball. For me, and we've seen this loads, Bogle, look at the blue lines. That is crying out for a 1-2. Surely. Like, Lefay is running quick at Bogle. Justin's got a lot of space in there where he can take a touch, play it into this space. How many times this season have we seen, whether it's Justin or someone else linking up, usually Ampadu, Bogle will play it in there, little ball into the space, Bogle will run in, just like you mentioned before. That little combination to play forward, it's there. Look, I understand that you've got to take risks. This is the point. You're not going to get 20 metres of space. Yeah, you might only have 5 metres, but that's enough. These are Premier League footballers. Play the ball in, tap the space in behind, and then we can go from there. Justin's in this position. He's a centre-back, remember? He's in this position clearly to do that, to create an extra player. Why didn't we use it? Like I said, it's usually Ampadu in here. But Ampadu's sitting deeper or sitting further back. Justin's the one in that space. He's in that space there for a reason. We split the centre-backs really wide. Justin's pushed up to create a little combination, and we didn't do it. We went straight back again. But even on the second phase, I'm looking here, and I'm saying this because we've seen it, and maybe because it's a different goalkeeper. Darlow and this guy, and again, I've watched the clip, he's not sprinting, he's jogging. He has about 2 seconds where he can look up, play it into Ampadu. We can play out to Rodon out here. We've done that. We do that all the time. And that's when then we play to Rodon. You can see we've got high players. We've got Justin up. We've got Bogle up. There was just a lack of bravery for me, mate. Making these quick attacking decisions.
Urgency, I think, too. Yeah.
It was so safe. And the outcome of this, and Ampadu, by the way, I watched, was screaming for it. Trust your player in there. He's fine. He's not too tightly marked. He can take a touch and play it out to Rodon here. That's fine. He could even probably turn with it and attack the space or find someone in there. We go along into this area, and I don't know what we're expecting to do in the air from this area. They both miss the ball. They get a throw in. They win possession back. So I just want. Is there what else you want to say on these, Andrea? Otherwise, I'll take them down.
No. I think I just I wanted to highlight what the position of Stack before, but I agree with that. To be fair, and even just taking part, I think it's also the reason we talked about why these midfielders are playing right now, because with Stack getting forward, you need someone. If we lose the ball on the right, we are exposed, so you need someone to cover there. Because in the end, look at the build-up. We see what I said before, with the Rodon on the right, Struijk in the middle, and Gruev was wide left there, when the ball goes there on the left, usually it's Gruev in the build-up.
Yeah.
So it's like a back four, back three at times, in possession, and Justin, that's why he's playing. That's the only reason, because of the pace. He's getting in a certain position like Firpo, when he was playing as a fullback, used to do. So it's something that I think he has replicated from what Firpo used to do on the other side, of course, last season. But The fact that Stack goes higher, I can accept that, but I cannot help but imagine in these slides, imagine we have Ampadu, yeah, but a versatile midfielder, instead of Justin and instead of Gruev there, like look at their formation. Gertruida, we know he's a defender that can also play in the middle, but Gertruida, Diarra, Sadiki. Diarra and Sadiki are versatile on and off the ball. They can move. They can move a lot. They can progress with the ball. We've seen that last summer, when we were talking about them. Also Lefe, too. We don't have these type of midfielders. That's the thing, but these attacking midfielders. That's the reason. Sadiki is both defensive and attacking. Diarra is the same. Ampadu is defensive. Gruev is defensive. Stack is link up now in our formation. The only 2-1 with an offensive mind are Aronson and DCL and the wing box. But if they press you, in this case, blocking the channels, they can't get forward. So you just have 2 offensive players, DCL and Aronson, and that's game over. So these are the warning signs I was talking about, The fact that we have become predictable. We know Lebris is a good manager. He studied clearly our games, because looking at what you've shown, it shows that Sunderland had prevented and forced us to go back in that case. And also, that's our mistake, not taking the risk, to try to go central and bypass the pressing, because like you pointed out, 5 and 4, there's a gap in the middle. If you bypass the 5 there, then if you have the players, but again, question mark, do we have the players? If you bypass the players there, where is our midfielder that can run with the ball and attack? Boom, into their defensive line,
Yeah.
It's just Aronson. But the problem is that midfielder, Aronson, even in the previous one, mate, if you can bring that up, on the left side. The previous one again. The first one, I think.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
The one when this one, like if you get the ball to Aronson there by passing these 5, he can boom go at the goal, pass the ball to DCL into the space, shoot, go on the right and shoot. Create the space for yourself, pass the ball to Stack 1-2, but at least he can attack the defensive line. In other slides, when you see that there's Aronson already in the forward line, and no one of our midfielders can progress with the ball and attack directly, because Stack, the majority of his shots come from a pass and he shoots. It's not like I like Stack, I really do, but like Nagelsmann said, he's always played in a different role, a more central one, a more balanced one. So you cannot expect him to turn into Fabian Ruiz overnight. Or Goretzka, because in the end, we talked about this yesterday, me and you. I get why Nagelsmann said we are already covered in that role, but why? Because German football already has Goretzka. They don't need another one. And Goretzka is even more attacking minded compared to Stack. So, yeah, just that, mate. To be honest.
Yeah, and you're right. Like this, I understand this is the way we set up. They've got 4. We have to be careful, but even that's our other midfielder there. I mean, this is what, when people say be more offensive, I understand it. Who's the profile? Maybe Tanaka, and that's the argument we've made before. That's the discussion we've had. But yeah, you're right. We get it in this area, but this is the mindset, right? This is attacking minded players. An attacking minded player there is going, oh, look at that space. I'll get it in there straight away. Instinct. Ampadu's looking, but he's not quite. Bogle's literally looking forward, going, "Where's the guy in there? Where is he? Where is he?
Where are you?"
Yeah, not there. I'll go back. Yeah, I'll go back. But yeah, I just want to show that. I believe we've got some stats, Andrea, from.
No, I wanted to show overall. To be fair, not just the game. I wanted to see overall, because connecting to what you said, previously on the people calling out for wingers, for like rotation. So I wanted to put this up. Let me find it. Here it is, coming up like the 80s on TV. Oh, not the audio. Okay, let's bring this up. Okay, should be on now.
Yep.
Okay, it's a right viewing. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Right.
Maybe one more bigger, just one more.
One more
maybe.
bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be
Good. So I want to point out this. Of course, this is the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. These are the 11 players that played the most for Leeds United this season.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you see 1, 2, 3, 4 midfielders basically, because we have Aronson playing behind the striker. So an attacking midfielder, a free playmaker playing in the second striker role. Okafor injured, but is also the other one that played the most there, on the left. The three midfielders that played the most basically have been Stack and Gruev and Ampadu, of course. So on paper, all three defensive midfielders. So that's the thing. But looking at our shape, Ampadu is the number 6. 1 goal, of course. Let's bring in the detailed one too. Okay, here it is. So going back to where I was, Ampadu playing in the 6. Then you have 2 number 8s. Stack was provided 4 goals, 2 free kicks too, and 3 assists. In that position, a new position for him, in that link-up role in the 3-5-2.
Good.
Then you have Gruev, who 3 assists too. Here, again, context. Always played as a defensive midfielder. When Ampadu got injured 2 years ago, and we moved, not Ampadu, sorry, when Stark got injured and Ampadu was moved to the centre-back position 2 years ago, who was his replacement in the role? Gruev alongside Kamara. So again, where is the box-to-box attacking? Where is a midfielder with different traits compared to the 3 of them? So again, when people criticize Falke, look at the players he's working with. There are 3 similar profiles on paper. They have differences because Ampadu is a natural playmaker, Gruev is more conservative, more tackler, Stack was more similar, was a mix of the 2 actually when he was in Germany. But look at the material he's working with, even the 3-5-2. Okafor, now injured, is playing with Aronson. Aronson is playing in that role. On paper, attacking midfielder. Let's not forget that.
Yep.
He's our second striker right now in the 3-5-2. And he scored 4 and 3 assists. DCL, he's staying fit. Hopefully he'll keep fit again. 10 goals, of course. But people talk about, give opportunities to others. James Justin has played now 1,086 minutes, all season in the Premier League. Biol has provided, when called upon, But apart from them, honestly, I struggle to see other players that leave a mark, in the recent period when called upon, Longstaff, look at, he was injured, all right, but 946 minutes. I don't think he impressed. Now he's struggling to get into the starting 11, yes, but also to even get 20 minutes, And Mecha, yes, he scored 6 goals. But I think with Mecha, the clinicality outweighed its contribution in game. Because right now the solution is Mecha DCL, Mecha DCL. Why? Because of what you said before. DCL is not an older player. So sometimes we need to keep the ball higher up. And that's why he brings in Mecha, because all the other ones, they cannot do the older play. The only one that can do is Mecha. And that's why he's playing. So right now on the 5 of March 2026, if you'll ask me, do you still see Mecha as an option next season at Leeds United? If they stay open, of course, if they stay open, they'll have different goals next season. Maybe as the 3rd striker, not as the first backup.
Which we all assumed would be the case when he came in.
Exactly.
Season, right?
And also in January when we were talking about Strand Larsen.
Yep.
Of course, Strand Larsen would have gone up higher than him in the hierarchy, The other ones, Tanaka, Dan James, 0 goals, 0 assists. He was injured, right? Nyonto didn't have the problems that Dan James had, with injuries. 380 minutes. Okay, 2 assists. The one at Brentford was amazing. 0 goals though.
Yeah.
For a winger in the Premier League, you need to score. You need the GA. Okay, you can show that you are the effort, when you are on the pitch. But in the end, you need to provide. You need to take your chances when you came on. He did at Brentford, but in other occasions, no. He struggled, like you said. He became predictable. Then you have Bornau, Pirot, for a striker. Again, I'm honestly, you know me, I'm a frank person, very direct.
Mm-hmm.
What good does it make for your career? I struggle to see that. He had opportunities to leave in January. He is going to play 100% in the World Cup player for Suriname. Right now, that is declared for them.
Yep.
But first season in the Premier League, 0 goal, 0 assists so far, 270 minutes, Less than Bornau, for example. Less than Jack Harrison was left for Fiorentina in January.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get it, honestly. 0 goals, 0 assists. You've proven yourself in the Championship, yes. He didn't want to leave because he is considering probably himself above the Championship, but so far, you're not proven to be a Premier League player. He simply hasn't. He needed a loan. Even if not a permanent sale, he needed a loan. So far, he's not a Premier League player. Next season, he's 27. He's 27. And usually at 27, you sign probably likely the last big contract of your career, usually players. Of course, he still has years on his contract, for Leeds. But 2027 is out of contract. So the sale or the loan, the sale, 100%, not the loan, needs to happen next summer. But the value will only drop lower unless he qualifies for the World Cup and has a good World Cup. Because 0 goal and 0 assists in 13 appearances in 270 minutes, So when people say Falcon needs to rotate, tell me who are the players that are impacting the game off the bench or have proven to be reliable among the reserves, because I don't see them, to be fair. I don't see him. Look at Buonanotte too. We talked about him. 24 minutes in the Premier League in 2 games. Now he's not even making the squad. So I struggle to see game changers or people that have proven to be efficient off the bench. Where are they?
I want to ask you, Andrea, because I've already spoken about him, and you mentioned a good thing there. It's important we clarify. The effort of the players we're criticising is not questioned. It's not the effort, it's the quality.
A marker, absolutely.
Everyone in the team comes on, they do their best, they put the work in, 100%. Good mentality. So, and on that, I want to talk about Nonto, who you actually said it. He comes on and he does work really hard, not denying it. He's trying to get his name on the squad. He's trying to impact. He's trying to do that. I have full respect for that. He's trying, but obviously the outcome isn't what we need. But the outcome is actually quite high. But he is our winger. He is our winger. And we need that from them. And we're in the Premier League now. We can't be going, oh, he needs time. No, they need to do it now. When they get 30 minutes or 20 minutes, they have to impact in that 30, 20 minutes. So I know a lot of people watching this will say, well, Nonto should get more minutes. What's your opinion on that? Nonto should get more minutes. What do you think?
I think in games, there were motives to play him, like at Villa, for example. And I even said, when Okafor became injured, like I like to see Gnonto in that role. But so far, when he comes on, it doesn't impress. That's the problem with him, And again, people treat him, and I think it's disrespectful to him too. Treat him like he's still 18. He's still an 18-year-old player, a 19-year-old player. He's 22, like Matteo Joseph, by the way. So these are not youngsters. These are players that need to do it now. That's their chance to leave a mark.
Dan James is the same in that. Obviously, the context here is Dan James has been injured, which is why we're not being overly talking about him. He's been injured for a lot of the season. But that is the same for Dan James. Different circumstances, but it's the same, right? Yes, previous point.
Yeah, and yet he played more. He played more than Gnonto despite being injured. Look at the number of minutes.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's tricky, because we all like these players. I like Gnonto, I like Tanaka, I like Dan James. I have doubts about them being, especially Gnonto and Dan James, being efficient. I had doubts about them being efficient in the Premier League, and so far they haven't thrown these doubts away. Unfortunately, even Longstaff is another tricky one, because we all know that he can do it in the Premier League, but so far I think it's a tactical issue for us. In this new formation, where do you put him? How can he be effective? Because of course I think Falke sees him as an alternative to Stack, but he's a completely different player. He was more used to be deeper at Newcastle in that sense, and he's less defensive minded than Stack, because Stack at least he used to play to bring in tackles. Longstaff is more, balanced, but also link up, but less stronger in the defensive end compared to Stack for me. So that's the other issue, that I probably Farke sees him more as a contributor in the final third, in game as a sub, rather than a performer on both ends of the pitch like Stack from the start.
Yeah,
that's the answer for me.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, if people disagree, let us know. I want to read. I'm curious, but please come in with it with a controlled mind and don't just tell us we're saying this about Farke. We've spent a lot of time criticising the performance, which in turn is criticising the manager. That's how it works. We just don't scream at the manager and say this is wrong. It's just respect. That's just the way we do it over here. That's just the way we do it.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't overly criticise players either. We don't call players rubbish or bad. They're underperforming or they're not good enough for two completely different things. Because I know when we lose, it can get very easy to blame whose fault it is. Whereas I'm in a situation where I've enjoyed this team a lot this season.
Yeah.
And when was the last time we felt like this? It's November. So I'm not going to overly be critical of anyone. What I can be critical of is the drop in standard and the subs not doing quite enough to what they should be when we need that impact when our 11 isn't quite on it. This is where the subs come on the game and change it and really get at the defenders and really create chances. And they're not doing that.
Exactly. We always said that, we try to be objective. And actually I was laughing, because there's a perfect example of what you just said about the reaction, like, for example, Okafor, when he wasn't doing well, there was this video of him getting massage, when he was ready to come on. After that, and people said, "Oh, look at him, a diver. He's not us. He doesn't want. He only cares about himself." Then he started to score one or two goals, and people say, our best player is performing so well for us. So at least try to be we try to be objective. We don't have agendas against player. It's not personal. I really don't like when people get personal against players, and I think a player, if he is intelligent, smart, knows that criticism is constructive. And there's a lot of players in the modern world that will be offended by a critic, but we're not insulting anyone. We're just saying our own opinion. Of course, people can accept it or not accept it, agree or disagree, but end of the day, it's football. It's these people outside of the pitch. When they step out of the pitch, they are just normal persons. Of course, with a more privileged way of life, of course, with a way of life everyone dreamed of, to be a footballer, when we were a kid, but they have their families. So if there's criticism, it needs to be just confined to the on-pitch performances. You can still like the individual and criticize the player, because I think the player and the individual are two different personalities, end of the day. But yeah, moving on, I wanted to also, of course, Lockie, you said we won't cover the Man City game, but there's one thing we need to talk about before we close the podcast and before looking at the next round of fixtures for Leeds. Of course, people have seen what happened against Man City, when there was the break in play for in order to allow the Muslim players to break their fast during Ramadan, because of course it's the period of Ramadan so far. Context is fundamental. I've seen outlets online, a pile on Leeds fans called racist, but the context is fundamental. Talk to people who were actually at the ground. And I wanted to underline two things. first, talk with people who were at the ground. They will tell you that it wasn't properly announced because a lot of people saw Man City going as a pack to the touchline to Pep, and a lot of people said, "Oh, what's going on? Why are they going there? It's not the timeout. Why are they?" I didn't realize, and that's why they booed. They didn't boot for that. Actually, there's a lot of people who were started to boo that because they saw City, they didn't know the context, going towards the touchline. Then, when it appeared on the mega screen that that's why they are going there, people stopped booing. Talk to people. Actually, I'm not referring to other Leeds fans, and I'm referring to outlets, people judging what happened without knowing the full context of it. Because me and Lockie, we talked with people who were at the ground, and they said we didn't know. We saw people started booing, but they told us that the announcement on why the breaking play was occurring wasn't there where people started booing. So they booed Man City going towards the touchline to have a team talk with Pep. There were even, and Lockie can jump here. There were even, and other Leeds journalists said that there were even players on the pitch asking the ref what is going on. Right, Lockie?
Yeah. Graham Smith said in his pod today, a Stack spoke to the ref. Yes, what's going on? I think some Man City players even didn't know. And this is it. Like, of course, there's people that had bad intentions. Obviously, like there will be. Unfortunately, or you can go anywhere in the world, any country you want, any event. There'll be people in there that have bad intentions. They shouldn't be there. That shouldn't happen. But I think you go anywhere in the world, that will, and that's just the sad state of humanity. Everyone's different. Everyone has different opinions on things. Everyone thinks different things. And there's obviously some in there that had bad intentions, and obviously that's like Farker said as well. I think Farker said it perfectly. Those people, they know who they are. That's wrong and not acceptable, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to generalize every one of them as that is dangerous and false. I know people that were there. They literally had no idea. They had no idea what was going on. Literally no clue. When some of the players don't even know, by the way, I think that's very fair to say that. And, the board came up after the whistle was blown when the players were in the huddle. Why are all the players in the huddle? What are we stopping this for? What's the reason? Not to have a huddle, it shouldn't be an advantage. We should stop it for the specific reason, which it was stopped, which obviously for the fasting, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, do that. Every player that wasn't doing that shouldn't have gone in the huddle. They should have stayed where they are on the pitch.
Exactly, I agree with that.
It's not a tactical break, is it? It's a religious
break. It's a religious one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was the problem with it, and that's the issue for me. And like I said, and let me be clear on this, there's definitely people there that had bad intentions. Of course there were, and apparently people called them out, which is good. Be accountable.
Yeah.
People, took that to account and said, look, don't say that. That's wrong. But to generalize 35,000 people, or however many were booing, is just unfair and wrong. And context is really important to every situation. Now, there is, I believe Graham also said, this could happen in the Norwich game. Let everyone know the situation. Let everyone know what's going to happen, what minute.
Communicate it.
I know some people said it was online. I get that, but loads of people don't look online. Not everyone has Twitter. Not everyone looks. Not everyone checks. People are working all week. They don't look online. They just go to the game at the weekend, announce it at the game, make it clear at the game what's going to happen. And then if it's very clear and it's aware and we all know and there's people booing, then we know clearly, there's people with bad intentions. So, I don't know if you want to add more onto that because I wanted to kind of tangent it off to refereeing because we do have
we'll get to that. Just the final one, of course, I don't think the fan base is intolerant. We have faiths, people with with every faith. We have people who are Jewish, Muslims, Christians, atheists, Sikhs. People of every religion and Leeds. Of course, there will always be some bad apples among the bunch, but the bad apples will always be outweighed by the good people. And Leeds fan base is not intolerant, neither racist, and even want to underline that there were people calling Leeds fans racist. The region is not a race. It's not an ethnic
Mhm.
group. The only ethnic group that identifies completely with the religions are Judaism and the Jews, because the link with the ancient tribes of Israel. But you have, for example, Muslims, you have people who are Muslim in the Balkans, like the Gorani, the Bosniaks, who are Slavic people.
Mhm.
So there's also different ethnicities, and they are, they share a common bond with the religion. So to call someone racist for religion is wrong, because technically it's wrong, because race is not religion. These are two
Mhm.
different things, But also I want to say, because there were people online, calling people out in a certain sense on this for a specific stance, a stance very similar to the one that we have, like saying that there are bad apples, and the bad apples. Let's not mistake the opinion of one or two online accounts as the opinion of every Leeds fan, because there's this tendency to generalize these days.
Mhm.
I remember an event that occurred last season in Reggio, Bari Reggiana. One player of Bari made a obscene gesture at one of the stands of the ground. He got, of course, back and forth with them. Then he went to the referee and reported that someone had racially abused him. The game was stopped. Then, as you know, in the UK, when someone is racially abused, the clubs act, and they have the tools. Even here, they
Mhm.
have the tools. If someone heard some abuse during the game, they have the tools to know who did it. Because we are in the modern era, there's cameras everywhere. There's camera
Mhm.
everywhere at the game. If you do something wrong, the club and the authorities will know, for
Mhm.
sure, absolutely, because they have the tools. So at the Reggiana game, that one, if it could have been one person, but after that there were titles, headlines, racist chants. I was at the stadium. There was not one single chant. If it
Mhm.
was done, one single abuse from one single person, and that person, eventually they didn't find out the evidence. But if there's one single person, it's his responsibility. It's not the shared responsibility of 30,000 people. The same at Leeds, if someone heard something inappropriate during that break, it's his responsibility. So
Mhm.
I don't like the fact that a lot of headlines were made of Leeds fans, Leeds fans,
Mhm.
Leeds fans. I think we have already qualified that the booing was a mistake in terms of misunderstanding, because people didn't know the context. There were players asking the referee what is going on, and then when the communication came up into the big screen, a lot of them stopped. Some still booed, and these are the bad apples I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Then we'll see on Norwich, and I think on what Graham said, that it can be repeated during Norwich. I think I don't want to justify people, of course, but I think because of the reaction that was given to the Leeds fans booing, some might still boo, but they won't boo the break of the fast. I don't think that will be the case. They will boo because of the reaction they got, being called racist, etc. The generalization of everyone. So I urge people not to do that, because it will send the wrong message.
Mhm.
Honestly, of course, there's generalizing and saying 30,000 people booed, everyone booed because they hated what was going on. I think that's not what happened, but let's not do the same here, generalize, and be people need to be fully respectful of that. It's a break
Mhm.
in play for religious reasons of players that are observing, so everyone has to be respectful of someone else's faith. It's about faith. So I think people will be respectful. And I don't think protesting how the Leeds fans were labeled as a fan base after what happened, without telling the whole context of it, because a lot of people said, I didn't know what's going on. I didn't know what was
Mhm.
going on. And then I think now it has been clarified, and people will know that's why the play will be stopped, and then we will see a different reaction completely. That's what I hope, because Leeds fans are not intolerant. They are not intolerant.
No, I agree. And I think the manager came out the day after and spoke really well in his press conference about it. He hit the points. He was fair. He was honest at the same time. And he said the ones that have bad intentions, we don't accept that. It's good to see, because there needs to be common sense in this. There needs to be context. It's really important. Otherwise, we can just, like you said, it just spreads into something that it really wasn't. So hopefully, in the next situation where that may occur, I'm being honest, I still think there will be, and that's going to be a shame. But I think it will be less.
I agree.
And I think as long as the club makes sure people know, it will be a lot less, in my opinion. And hopefully, because no one likes to see it, do it, let's be honest. But yeah, right. Very quickly, I don't want to spend too long on this. I just want to have a quick kind of, now we've done all the game stuff, so no one can say, oh, it's not about the ref. It's not about the ref. Right. We'll do this at the end. I've had a problem with this all season. There's not really been a good time to talk about it, because we've been doing quite well, and it's hard to talk about it when we're doing well. I've had enough of football in this country. Full stop, Andrea, to be honest. So, and I talked to people at work who support teams like Brentford, stuff like that. They've seen it. They say it's a joke. It's just boring now. There is zero, and this is what it is for me. It's consistency in rules. There's zero consistency. If the rule's the rule, fine, but there's no consistency in it. The penalty on Strout, the one that weren't given, where the guy O'Nien has his arm round his neck. In what world is having an arm round a neck not given? Now, I understand if the ref hasn't seen it, but that's specifically the point of video assistant referee. That's why it's there, to miss them clear things like that. And we're not talking about a little grapple. We're not talking about a little pull of the shirt in the box. That happens. We're talking about a grab around the neck. How is that not a foul? That's my problem. And there's loads. It's not just Leeds. I'm just coming from Leeds' perspective, of course. But I'm sure everyone in their club can say, well, we had this exactly. There's clear penalties that are not given. But then the consistency of that with every single touch that isn't in the box is a foul. It's so draining to see. There's no flow in the game. There's no momentum, really. Some refs are actually quite good at letting play on. Advantage is a thing that doesn't really exist anymore. Really, they do it 2 or 3 times a game. Every time there's a foul, instantly blow up. Why don't we wait to see what goes on? Why don't we wait to see if the move can continue? Let's keep the ball going. Let's keep playing. Time wasting. I mean, look, people are saying we need to get involved in it. I don't want to endorse it. I don't want us to. Then we come to part of the problem for me.
Yeah.
If everyone has that mindset, it won't go away. It'll just get worse. All right, we'll do it then. No, don't. I agree. Leeds United players should be more at the ref in terms of that was a foul, did it? We are too nice in that sense, but that's not cheating. That's just speaking to the ref, right? Every team does that, and they always have. Time wasting has definitely gotten worse. The time the ball is on the pitch is lower than ever in the Premier League. I think the rules are more confusing than ever. I think the justification of decisions is it doesn't exist or it isn't there. And the consistency is out the window. I hate time wasting. And take my word for it. Honestly, I don't even like it when we do it. I just don't like it. It's not for me. I don't like it. And I think it's bad karma. I think if you're wasting time for 60 minutes, I think for me, that just, they'll get a goal from that justice kind of thing, they'll score from that. I don't like it. I hate time wasting. I think you can time waste on the pitch. You can hold the ball up. You can change tactically. You can change the areas you play the football. You can bring players on who can hold it up, stuff like that. Play for corners, keep the ball high. There's ways you can do it on the pitch. I hate that every time there's a goal kick, it literally takes 30 seconds to get the play going. If you count, that's a long time. 1, 2, that's a long time. They've got the rule in for 8 seconds for the goalkeeper in the hands. Why is that not a rule for throw-ins? Throw-ins take so long. Why is that not a rule for even after a foul? Players lie on the ground. They're obviously fine. Obviously, it's hard to describe if one is fine. That's the risk, right? How do you distinguish that? But there's got to be a cap on it. Refs have to take advantage of it. Use common sense. The player doesn't want the physio to come on. He's fine. Get up then. Stop rolling around for 20 more seconds. We've got to be quick with it. As soon as he's fine, he's up, right, take the free kick. You've got 5 seconds or I'm turning it over. Goal kicks take so long. It's a joke. Throw-ins take so long. The amount of times as well, players go down in the box and hold the head when it's not a head injury. I actually think head injuries are so dangerous and so important in football, and this is controversial. If you can look at the AR and a player's gone down and they've not been hitting the head and they're holding their head, they should be booked. Because it's a serious thing and it's diminishing it. Because if a player is actually hurt, they need to be seen to. But there was 3 times in the game where the ref stopped the game for it wasn't even a head injury. So he deemed them to be serious fouls then. That's the only time you stop it, which it obviously wasn't. It's so wrong to me. It's just allowed to get worse and worse. Football, I'll be honest, in this country, you can tell me about Italy, Andrea. But in this country,
not.
it's becoming boring. I watched, who did I watch the other day? Was it Brighton? Not Brighton. The Brighton manager came out and said the same things, by the way. People have
Brighton Forest.
It was. I watched the game the other day. I can't remember what it was. If it was Arsenal Chelsea the other week.
Yeah, on Sunday.
And honestly, mate, that was the amount of just boring little pointless fouls that were given. No advantage played. Time wasting. It is draining and it's not fun to watch. And I'm coming from perspective because I watch, for work, I watch a lot of football, and I can categorically say in places like Belgium, lower leagues in France. Even Irish football, which I watched last night for work, it's not the same. You don't even notice the referee. You don't even notice it. It flows better. The ball's in play more. It's good. There's momentum in games. Momentum is dying. You watch the Champions League and it's great. It's so entertaining.
Different
Why is it?
meter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I want to say on it. I'm coming from a sports perspective here, a sports fan, and I'll say this when Leeds next win, I'll do this same rant for people just to assure you it's not because we lost. It's
objective. Yeah,
we've lost before, and it's built up, and it's so frustrating, and it's just boring for the entertainment of the sport. Something needs to change with the rules for me. Time wasting is killing it.
Absolutely, dives too.
Yeah.
Of course, there was a big case in Italy of Inter Juve when Kalulu was already booked. Bastoni dived in front of the referee. That I don't know why he didn't see that it was a dive, and it was a blatant dive, but he booked Kalulu the second yellow and sent him off.
Yeah.
So VAR cannot intervene because of the rules there, because it was a second yellow, and it changed completely the game. Yeah, it was a big outcry, but you know what the problem is? The problem is that they are talking about that. Let's reform VAR. Let's change the rules because it's Inter Milan versus Juventus. If it was Cagliari against, for example, Torino, they wouldn't say the thing. They wouldn't have said the thing. The problem is, do you have VAR? Yes. Is there a mistake by the referee? Yes. VAR can intervene. Full stop. There shouldn't be cases where VAR can intervene and cases where VAR cannot intervene. That's the issue. And also, it's also a mentality problem, of course, because if you dive and you don't tell anything to the referee, then you are unsportsmanlike. You are unsportsmanlike. There were even calls for Bastoni to be banned by the national team, but he admitted that he was wrong, and he was repentant. He said, "I am not proud of what I did." He said, "I'm sorry for what I did." So now, of course, he will be called up during the playoffs because he's the best defender we have. Actually, it will be a problem without him. But the problem is that even on Tuesday night, Reggiana played against Südtirol. Cragno used to be a Serie A goalkeeper, the Südtirol goalkeeper, went out to chase the ball. There was Fumagalli from Reggiana, and Fumagalli was getting the ball, but Cragno went down. He actually injured his tendon. And Fumagalli could have done could have scored, but he stopped because Quania was down. So today on all the main Italian newspaper, there's the praise for Magalli in contrast with what Bastoni did,
Mm-hmm.
So you see, it's a mentality problem too. But in the end, it shouldn't be down to the players. It should be down to the rules. If you dive and if you try to trick the referee, for example, dive, 3-game ban. Let's see if you dive the next game.
100%.
Let's see if you dive the next game, because there's the TV proof, TV evidence. We can see you. We can rewatch the game and see, oh, you dived here. You tried to trick the referee. 3 games ban.
Yeah.
3 games ban. That's the way to prevent these things. That's the deterrent. That's the deterrence that you need. But also, again, like double yellow, second yellow, VAR cannot intervene. Why?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're giving a red card.
Yeah.
And again, there's not uniformity. There's not a uniform way of using VAR. There are cases where you see a handball, a specific handball given, and the same handball in another game not given, because the referee at VAR, the VAR assistant is different. So every VAR assistant has his own meter, and that's not how it should be. It should be, this is the way to use VAR. These are the rules. These are the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You don't interpret the rules. You don't read the rules your own way. These are the rules. Everyone should read the rules the same way. So the problem for me is how VAR is used, but also the people using it. Because different referees using it, different assistant referees using VAR, give different interpretations. So people, fans, pundits, they say, okay, that episode, that specific event was given in that way, and a very similar one in another game was given a different response, a different decision. So why does that happen? So the problem for me are two: the way they are using VAR and the people who are actually using it. Because even when the referee makes a good decision, or gives his own interpretation on the pitch, sometimes VAR is calling him to change the on-field decision. So in Italy, they always say, who is refereeing the game, the referee or VAR? And that's true, because at times you see they're calling them the varisti, the VAR assistant referees, basically it means, they're calling them like they are a close society, like these are the ones that are making the real decision behind the scenes, that they are influencing the referees. If you have an experienced referee at VAR and an unexperienced upcoming referee on the pitch, at times you can guess, okay, if there's a 50-50 decision, the experienced referee will have his say and will influence via VAR the referee. So that's why there are different interpretations. This is the way to solve it. New rules. But do the clubs, do really the federations, the people involved really do that? Because that will mean changing for every league in UEFA. Do they really want that? That's my worry.
Well, yeah, that's the problem, and it's not just Leeds; it's every team has their problems with the rules and what's going on and ridiculous decisions. But it's getting to the point now, mate, where it just bores me watching games in the Premier League. To be honest, obviously I love watching Leeds because I'm invested in that emotionally. But the others, generally, there's a few that are different and they are really fun. But generally speaking, it's so boring. I used to love watching the Premier League. I used to watch Match of the Day highlights every week as well. I used to love it. I'm just not interested in it anymore, apart from our perspective. I'm genuinely not, which is sad because I want to be the best players in the world. I think football's in a place now. It's generally more boring in the last few years. That's because it's very heavy. Yeah, more expensive. Yeah, that's another thing. But it's generally more boring. And again, watching a lot of games from work, the styles of the games are all quite similar. There's one team that's heavy in possession. There's one team sitting deep. They're trying to break them down. They can counter-attack. That's kind of the flow of the game. So football doesn't need the rules to make it even more boring, because it has gotten a little boring, generally speaking, recently. But yeah, it's a big problem for me. I agree with you. I think the punishment should be... If people are faking head injuries, send them off. You can't do that. That's bad. I'm not saying when they've been hitting. I mean when they've not been hitting the head. And what happened with Harry Maguire the other day? Holding his face. The replay showed the foot was about that far off his head. That's cheating. You should be off. You should look at that red card. No, people will stop doing it. They'll stop doing it. You know, you brought in VAR to stop stuff like that happening. You brought in VAR to stop people booting people off the ball, which has stopped now in football. You don't see it. So clearly bringing something in to threaten the players to not do it with consequences works. And that's what needs to happen. The consistency in the managers. Farke getting sent off for running onto the pitch. I've seen so many managers do that. Where's the consistency? If you can't do that, fair enough. Not got a problem with that. Then no one else can. Arteta can't do it, which he does every week. He's on the pitch half the time. Book him straight away. You can't do that.
They will condemn Farke for asking politely to the referee why this decision were made. He didn't make a single insult, you know. He wasn't angry. He wasn't aggressive. Yet they condemned him, you know, because he's the target. You know, they know he wanted back in a hard way. You know, they know how Farke is, that he's always very balanced, composed. You know, so they went for the easy target. Had it been a different manager, they wouldn't have done that. You know, we've seen that multiple times, and no punishment for that.
Yeah,
like you say.
It sums up football. And do you know what summed it up more than anything? This is quite a niche one. But near the end of the game, Nonto had it down the left. I think it was it 09 or someone slid into Nonto. Nonto jumped to avoid the tackle and his leg hit his head. Nonto got yellow carded for it. For jumping out of the way of a tackle and catching his head. Like,
yeah.
What common sense? He's obviously not meant to jump. If he's meant to jump and hit him in the head, that's a straight red. He's obviously meant to jump. The guy slid into him. It's insane.
Yeah. Remember that when Cooper was sent off at Man City during the COVID season, when he booted the ball, then after of course the natural movement of the leg is swoosh when you boot the ball, and after he booted the ball, there was, I think it was Bernardo Silva probably, and of course he hit his leg, you know, but it wasn't a tackle. He had just booted the ball away, red card. Remember that, and it was VAR, I think that day.
Yeah,
so
it's endless, man. I don't know what the solution is. I just know whatever I'm watching isn't great. I don't really enjoy it. That's the fact of it. I love watching the Champions League. For whatever reason, it works there. They've got it right. The refs are good. It seems to work. VAR, you don't really notice it. It's working in the background. The decision's made quickly. There was 6 minutes added on at the end of our game because of VAR checks. Like, what are we doing? But then of them 6 minutes, of them 12 minutes that were added on in the game, 5 of them minutes the ball was in play. 7 minutes the ball was out of play, and he added 1.5 minutes on. You're allowing it then. You're just allowing it at that point.
Yeah.
People are going to keep doing it. But just to clarify, I don't want us to. I don't want to be part of that. We need to stand up to it and not do it.
They found a solution. Nah. They found a solution at the last World Cup, you know. Remember those 8, 9, 10 minutes of edit time, because they were tracking all the time wasting during the game, and then they were, of course, giving those lengthy edit times, you know, and it worked. You know, it worked because people started to do it less, you know, to time waste less, you know. I struggle to recall certain ones today. I don't know why. They started to do that less because they knew if I'm wasting, then I will have to play more minutes in any time. You know, it worked. Why aren't they doing that now 4 years on? You know, because they did it eventually after the World Cup ended, but the next season they stopped it. You know, they went again to 3 to 4 minutes of edit time.
Yeah. No, they don't stick to the rules, and that's a problem. But this is it. Like, just to end on it, the keeper's going down. Do you know how you stop that? Your captain has to go off. Simple. You can't take the keeper off, obviously. That'd be ridiculous. Your captain has to go off. Sorted. They'll stop doing it. And make it longer. Make it a minute. I don't care. You know, and if their injury's that bad, you know, they're on the floor for 5 minutes. If their injury's that bad, they've got to have more than a 30-second rest. You know, they've got to have at least a minute rest. You know, so you know, people are playing. They're playing the sport. They're not injured. They're fine. But this is the line, obviously, because some are actually injured, and you have to be careful, of course. But if there's an injury with the goalkeeper, which there seems to be every week now, I think the Brighton man said 3 times in their game the keeper was injured. I mean, that's just taking the mick. Common sense needs to prevail. Like, I mean, if it happens, right, captain, you have to go off the pitch. That's as simple as that.
That's the extreme way, but I feel we'll have to go that far, in order to make a change.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Why not? It'll stop it. Let's go a bit more extreme, Right? Yeah, 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes off. No, I'm joking, but yeah.
Okay, Stipe. The 2-minute power play.
Yeah,
okay, for 2 minutes you are playing with 10 against 11 because of what he did. He dived 3 minutes out. Blue card.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Simbin. Faking injury.
Simbin, yeah.
Go off. VR, watch it. Yeah, he's faked injury. He's not even been touched there. Right, you're off. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. Simbin,
10, I think. I actually like rugby for that because they never complain. They accept every decision. They are proper men. Like they always said. Football is a gentleman game played by animals. Was it and rugby is an animal game played by gentlemen. I think it was that was the quote. Some more or less. But yeah. We can take a lesson or two from rugby.
Also in rugby, the physios do it on the pitch as the game's playing.
Yeah.
Can't we do that? I understand it's slightly different in the way it's played, but I don't know. We'll stop time wasting from going down. I don't know. There's some solutions for people smarter than me, but I'm just an annoyed football fan. But anyway, we'll leave it there, Andre. I don't know if you've got anything to add.
No, I want just to look at the final at the table one last time to close it. Yeah, to see how we sit. Where we sit, not how we sit. How we sit, of course, we sit still on a chair, but where we sit right now on the table after the 2 consecutive losses against Man City and Sunderland, of course, with West Ham winning. Now we have the gap 28-31 tonight. After the podcast, after you've watched us, you can go and watch Tottenham versus Palace, crucial match in this part of the table. I think
actually, I was gonna say this might be out on the Friday because I've got work soon. And
no worries. If you already know the result, don't pretend you don't know the result in this case. Then, so of course, probably some people will already know what happened between Palace and Tottenham. If that has occurred, I think the best result would be of course, probably a draw, but I won't mind the Palace win because I think we need to keep Tottenham behind us. That's the best thing for us. And to close it off for me, looking at the next round of fixtures, of course, we play on Sunday against Norwich, the former club of Daniel Farke. Then crucial match against Palace. Even a draw would be all right for me here. Then where we need to make absolutely 9 points is Brentford, Wolves, and Burnley. For me, these are the must wins, because after that, okay, Bournemouth is an open one for me. Man United, anything can happen. It's derby, the Roses derby. Tottenham, another key clash. But after that, you just have Brighton at home again, like when we stayed off 21-22, and then the final match at West Ham. So for me to widen that gap, we absolutely need to 3, 6, 9. What about you, mate?
I agree. Targeting the wins. I even think we should get some at Palace next as well.
Yeah.
Palace should get something. Brentford are a good team, they're actually a decent team. They're underrated. So that'll be tough. It will be tough, but we need a win there. Wolves, again, hitting form. Doesn't matter to us. We need a win. We've got to win these games. Bournemouth will be really tough. Burnley as well. We seem to struggle for some reason against Burnley. Got to get a win.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now. There's not games left. We have to get these points. 10 points for me. Maybe a little bit more. We'll do it. But we've got good home games left. We have good opportunities. We've put in all this hard work. That really good run we went on against literally the top. Look at all the top teams. We played all them in that run, some of them twice. And we came out of that run looking good. So now in the games that you're expected to get points from, let's just do it, man. The rewards for me of staying up, obviously we know that are so big. A big summer ahead if we do, a big summer ahead. And it has to be done. And we talk about this quickly, like second strikers need to be, if we're playing this formation, second strikers, not attacking midfielders, different profiles in midfield, wing backs. wingers. We need the right profiles. We need the right profiles.
Goalkeeper.
Because goalkeeper for me. Yeah, I agree. That penalty was horrible. But yeah, that's what I think, mate. I just want to clarify as well. I think it's been said that Farke has accepted his 1 match ban, so he will miss the Norwich game.
Okay.
Which has kind of worked out all right.
Doesn't want a family reunion. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not. Probably worked out perfectly for him. Probably went, I don't want to be involved emotionally in that. I'll go sit in the stands. Don't miss a Premier League game, which is important. We need him away at Palace. You need your manager there. And obviously, if it wasn't successful, it would double to a 2-match ban, so he might miss the home game at Brentford as well. So even though I don't think he's done anything wrong, it's a right decision just so he's definitely back, because we know the FA will make the wrong one. So, yeah.
So we have Reamer against Norwich. We'll have Reamer. Yeah, good laune. Good mood.
But honestly, mate, I'm ready for it. I'm never really confident about Leeds, just because nothing to do with the players or anyone, just because it's Leeds. And the loss has hurt me a little bit. It's hurt. My confidence is bruised. But you know what? Come match day, I'm back at it. I'm back at believing in the players again. You know, we can do this. We need our captain to step up. We need to get things right tactically. Mentality needs to be spot on. And we're in a good position. We're still in a good position to stay in this league. That's not changed. We're still ahead. We've just got to do our bits now. Simple as that. 9 games left. 9 games left, sorry, yeah. Do our job, mate. It's simple. Just do what we need to. Get over the line. I don't care if it's horrible. Just get over it. Just get over it, please.
Absolutely. Because we are facing 2 teams that are in the bottom 3. And of course, then you have, of course, key clashes. Man United, anything can happen. Tottenham, I think we can match against them, but yeah, we'll see. But it's fundamental that we start again on the right foot at Palace, because that's another probably underrated clash. And they'll have also the European fixtures, so hopefully that will play a part in them, not being at their best in terms of fitness.
Well, hopefully. Yeah. Right, we'll leave it there then. Thank you, Andrea, as usual.
Thanks, mate. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. People have gone for 2 hours. I didn't think we'd go for this long.
Yeah, me too.
We always do. So it's always, obviously, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I don't know when this will be out. If it's out Friday, I apologize. It's just, it takes a while to download the videos, and I actually leave in about 30 minutes. I'll be at work, so we'll see. It might even be out late Thursday night. I don't know why I'm saying this, because it's not live. But anyway, whenever this is out, hi.
Transparency, people, transparency. Look at the transparency. We bring it to you,
But yeah, if it went out on Thursday, that's the reason why people now know. But yeah, thank you everyone for the support as usual. We know we'll try and get this back every week now. We just had it's been busy stuff going on. I know it feels like more, because I weren't really present last week because I was just ill, mate. But hopefully we're back to it, and we'll have more wider football topics to speak about in the future. We're just games thick and fast. It's hard to speak about anything else, but we'll bring more of that to you guys as well. There's some good topics we can talk about. But yeah, Andre, anything to finish to add before?
Marching on together. Leeds.
Absolutely.
Nothing better to say.
Nothing better.